Welcome back, and I want to share with you guys what I've been working on for this week. So, starting out, I showed you guys this last week, but this was a little portrait I did of Macy because she was going through a really tough time being in the hospital. And just giving you guys an update, she's actually doing awesome. She was given a couple of the vaccines to kind of fight back, as well as the plasma, so she's doing awesome, and she was actually able to go home this week. So she's actually doing amazing, getting better. Still fighting, she's still going to have the after effects and still trying to get better, but she was able to go home, so she's actually doing awesome. Another thing I worked on this week was, this is Maisie, a different girl, and she has a few medicines and some surgeries coming up, but I did this one because with our healthcare, and there's so many things that these kids and these families have to fight for. And there was a medication that she had that they're having so much trouble just trying to get for, and the price is so out there. And even though she's got a couple different healthcare plans, they're still battling to get approval from it. So, I created this one just to show her, I'm thinking about her. This is, I put a little Supergirl on her chest, and it's going to kind of go into a cape. But again, these portraits are just quick sketches, just having fun. And the whole purpose of them is, again, one is while I'm sculpting it and surrounding myself with images, it's me saying, I'm thinking about you. I'm sending my energy, my healing energy, my praying energy, all of that into the universe and towards you. And with sharing the artwork, it kind of grabs a little bit of attention. People throw some extra prayers. It really builds up. And with her, there's a medication that she was out of and actually needed. And the community that is around her and that just supports her is amazing. There was a medication that she was supposed to have that she literally just ran out of, and the insurance companies were fighting over things or not approving her, and the community, and it's I think like a $12,000 or $13,000 medication for like a 12-day supply. And not going into details, but basically her community stepped up and they really helped it out, so she was able to get her medicine. They're still fighting with the insurance companies and getting reimbursed and all that, but she was able to buy it straight out because of the support that's just there for these amazing children. So that's the plus side of in a negative situation. But again, these pieces are to have fun and to really share that, hey, I'm thinking about you, this is for you, this is to give you strength, and I'm just sending my energy to you. Now, the other thing I worked on was, I have a couple pieces here. I finally got I was catching up on Supernatural episodes, and I finally got to the end of the 15th season, the final season, and they actually did an awesome job with the way that they ended it and finally bringing it to a close, and just the way that they did it. But that inspired me to do these two pieces of Sam and Dean. So doing portraits and working from pictures and capturing a likeness and just looking at the little nuances that are there, there's so many different shapes in a face. With these two, Sam is obviously, he has a lot slimmer but a lot taller of a face as opposed to Dean. And Dean is a lot more angular and structured. With Sam, you also got his hair, which is just a whole nother monster. But there's so many other little shapes. Like with Sam, you'll notice a little bit of a brow ridge that comes up, and then the forehead that slopes back. Dean's is a lot more angular going back, but he has a lot thicker of a brow ridge that's a little bit more noticeable. Certain things with the cheekbones and where the nasal folds are, also later on going in and adding in expression and bringing them to life, so they're not just these static faces looking at you. So that's why I wanted to do these, just because, you know, like I said, I just finished up the series. I was, you know, kind of binge watched the last season, so that, you know, just because it just kind of pulls you in. But it was just something that I was inspired to do. And working on portraits and things like that, that gives me, not only do you get a lot better, a lot quicker, but you also, it also gives you a chance to kind of experiment as well. At least for me, when I do things like this, these two would be more to where I would actually do off of their characters, but doing portraits off of famous people, a lot of times I'll see a certain look and I'll kind of go off and turn it into like a demon or a fawn and get the basic, you know, face shape there, and then kind of trail off and see what else I can do with it. So that was these two. Now the other pieces that I'm still working on for my story, I added a little bit more to it. So here I have my Dorothy piece, and cleaned up the face a little bit, worked on the hair, and then to the back I actually added on the yellow brick road, because obviously because it's Dorothy, but also because there's a certain path, and it's an idea of finding somebody to help lead the way. And that's what the character's about. Finding somebody to help lead the way, and a certain path to follow. That path, you have a certain path that you're going to follow, and it'll kind of take you in different directions. And that path may change later on. However, having a direction to go is something that's really going to help you. Whether you're trying to achieve something or you're just having fun. There's a story I always tell that, like, you have to be pointed. It's just like a GPS. You know, if you're trying to get somewhere, you have to know the direction you're headed. So even if that direction changes later, you know, like I'm based out of Delaware. Let's say I have a direction, I'm trying to get to New York. Even if I get sidetracked or I start finding these other places or avenues I want to go, and I end up in this amazing small town in New Jersey, even though that isn't my end result that I was originally shooting for, and even though I changed a few directions, I still would have never gotten there if I wouldn't have had that initial direction to go to New York. So with my sculpture journey, you know, I started out doing masks, and then went to learning how to get better and doing portraits and doing busts and, you know, doing these little hero pieces. But if I didn't try and start sculpting and find out that I love sculpting from doing masks, I never would have gotten to the point to where I'm at now. So it's just a matter of figuring out, you know, what is it that you love and enjoy, and trying to do more of it and head it in a certain direction while keeping your eyes open and your mind open to other avenues. And let me put this up there. Last but not least, I also worked a little bit more on my tears piece, and this is how she is looking now. As you remember, this is on a wooden column, a 4x4 block, so I just covered it a little bit more with clay and added, you know, extended the hair down and kind of worked on cleaning up the hair. And I started adding in more strands, trying to figure out exactly how I want to detail or define it. But there she is. I think this is kind of going to have a smooth, slightly textured look. It's not going to have too much interest to the column, but rather just be a kind of a straight column. And then the only thing I think I have to finish up is work on the texture or smooth out just a little bit. I'm still going to leave some texture on this and her face, but really figure out the forms of the hair without overly doing it. So that is what I was able to work on this week. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, and this next week what I want to do is I want to do a little bit more of the process and sketching. I want to bring to life some more characters from the book, and also work on some more likenesses or portraits just to kind of get myself back in the game of having fun with sketches and just kind of seeing what comes out. And so that's what I got. Hopefully you guys have had an awesome week, have an awesome weekend, and I will talk to you guys next week and share with you guys everything I'm working on, what I've got coming up, and seeing how the pieces of this story start coming together. Thank you guys for watching. Go out there, get creative, and have a blast.